Hi guys, carrying on with our angles this morning. Okay, we looked at angles on a straight line and angles around a point last week. So now we're going to look at angles inside a triangle and angles inside a quadrilateral. That's a shape with four sides. Okay, so if you put a head in angles in a triangle, and the rule is, and it means it's easy enough, so straight away, angles in a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so just like angles on a straight line last week, if you know one of the angles or two of the angles, you can work out the missing one if you know they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so one that written in your books. Then I've got a couple of triangles here that I want you to draw and label with me. Okay, so pause the video to try and keep up. So this first triangle, there's nothing special about it. All of its angles are different. Okay, it's called a scalene triangle. Okay, so scalene triangle means all the angles are different. There's nothing special about a scalene triangle. You'd have to be told two of the angles and you can work out how big the third angle is. We'll do an example of each of these in a minute. Okay, now the next triangle is a special one. It's called an isosceles triangle. And before you draw it, just let me explain what it is. It's a triangle where it's got a line of symmetry down the middle. So what I mean is the left side, this long one down the left, is exactly the same as the long one down the right. And to show they're the same, we put a little dash on them. Okay, so that means that they're the same length. So I'll label them there, look, same length. Okay, but more importantly for us, these two angles at the bottom, and I'll colour them in blue, they're the same as well. Okay, so really important on an isosceles triangle, and you'll spot it because it's got the little dash there and the little dash there. It's got two angles the same, then the one at the top is different. Okay, but you do have two the same at the bottom and one which is different at the top, but they still add up to 180. Okay, so that's an isosceles triangle. So try and draw it so it's the same both sides, like a mirror image with a mirror down the middle. Okay. Third triangle here is called an equilateral. Okay, and that's even more special than an isosceles because on an equilateral triangle, all of the sides are the same length. So I put a dash on all three sides because they're all equal in length and all of the angles are equal. So I could colour in all three. So 1, 2, and this one, 3, and they're all the same. So all angles the same. Okay, which means they're the same every time, because if there's 180 degrees in a triangle and I split it equally between 3, so divide it by 3, you get 60 degrees on every corner. Okay, and every equilateral triangle has 60 degrees on every corner. Okay, a little bit different for isosceles because these can be different every time, but for equilateral they're always 60 because 3 times 60 makes 180. And then down at the bottom here, then what makes this triangle special is that it's got a right angle in the corner. So this is a right angled triangle. Right angled triangle. And it's special because it's got that 90 degree in one corner. Okay, and then the other two can be anything you like. But I noticed last week where I gave you questions where there was a 90 degree symbol, a little square, some of you didn't spot it and your answers were wrong by 90 degrees. Okay, so anytime you see a little square, remember to include 90 degrees in your workings out. Okay, so when you've got all those done, we'll move on to the next one. So pause the video if you need a bit of time. We'll do some questions. Okay, right. So my first triangle here, this is one which is scalene. Okay, so all three angles are different. Pause and draw it, and when you're ready, if you want to have a go, you can do, but when you're ready, press play. So remember now they add up to 180 degrees. I know what two of them are. So if I add up the two that I've got, so 108 plus 36, that's 14, so carry the 1, 0 and 3 and 1 is 4. So there's 144 degrees so far. Now take it away from 180. Some of you were forgetting the taking away step last week as well. Right, borrow. 10 take away 4 is 6. 7 take away 4 is 3. 1 take away 1 is 0. Our missing angle is 36 degrees. Okay, so easy as that. Add them up and take away from 180. Don't forget the taking away step. Some people were forgetting that last week on the other angles work. Okay, here's my second example for you. This is an isosceles this time. And remember what makes an isosceles triangle special. It's got two sides the same length, the little dashes, that's what they tell us. And it's got two angles the same down the bottom. So remember, these are the same down here. So what can you do? There's nothing to add up because there's only one angle in the question. So the only thing we can do is take that one angle away from 180. Okay, so 180 take away 34. We're going to have to borrow. So 10 take away 4 is 6. 7 take away 3 is 4. 1 take away nothing is 1. Now that doesn't mean that each of those blue angles is 146 degrees. That would be impossible because that would be too many degrees. Remember, we've only got 180 to start with. What it means is that both of those blue angles together make 146 degrees. Okay, so this is two angles, not one angle. It's both of them together. And because they're the same, all we have to do is split the 146 in half. So divide it by 2, that means. So 146 divided by 2. 2 into 1 doesn't go. Carry the 1. 2 into 14 goes 7 times exactly. 2 into 6 goes 3 times exactly. So what that means is we've got 73 degrees this side and 73 degrees that side, and that will make 180 altogether. Okay, and it's got two angles the same at the bottom. Okay. My third example is another isosceles triangle, but this time I've given you the angle at the bottom. Okay, so I've given you one of the two which are the same. So that one and that one are the same. So I can put a 72 degrees there as well. And this time we're going to try and work out the angle at the top. Okay, so if you've got both the bottom angles, add them together. So 72 add 72. And I did have both of them. Even though I only had one to start with, I know they're the same because it's isosceles. So that's 4, 14, so 144 degrees. And now I take it away from 180. Remember, 180 degrees inside a triangle. So take it away from 180. So 180, take away 144. You have to borrow as always. 10 take away 4 is 6. 7 take away 4 is 3. 36 degrees at the top. Okay, so if you know the top angle, take it away from 180 and then split it in half. If you know the bottom angle, you've got both of them, add them up and take away from 180. Okay, and the last one on the triangles then. So remember, this is a right angle triangle. And it looks like we only know one of the angles, but we don't. We know two of the angles because we know that a little square is 90 degrees. And so we can work out the other angle there. If we do 90, add 63, which is 153, and take 153 away from 180. Okay, like I say, last week a few of you were ignoring the square and pretending it wasn't there, and so your angles were wrong by 90 degrees because you'd forgotten to include 90 in your adding up. Okay, so our missing angle on this last little example is 27 degrees. Okay, and on the worksheet there's a few triangle questions, so you could do those now, or you can go right the way through the video and do them at the end after we've done quadrilaterals. Okay, so when you're ready, Go to the next slide with me, press play. Now then, angles in a quadrilateral, that's a four-sided shape, so it's squares, rectangles, kites, parallelograms, trapeziums, all sorts of things are quadrilaterals, and they've got four sides and they've got 360 degrees inside them. Okay, so they add up to 360. So if you can write my sentence down at the top, the angles in a quadrilateral always add up to 360 degrees, and that matches up with angles around a point that we did last week. Okay, so to find the missing angle on the left hand side, then there's nothing special about this quadrilateral. It's not a square, it's not a rectangle, it's not a kite, it's not a parallelogram, it's not a trapezium. It's just a sort of a random four-sided shape. And to work out the missing angle, we add up the three angles that we've got. Be careful lining up your columns, okay, units with units, tens with tens. So 9 and 8 is 17, and 6 makes 23. 8 and 8 is 16, plus 2 makes 18. 1 and 1 makes 283 altogether. Okay, so how do we find the missing angle? We need to do 360 take away 283 now. And again, some of you last week were forgetting this taking away step at the end. So 7, I have to borrow again here. 15 take away is 7 again. 2 take away 2 is nothing. So the missing angle there is 77 degrees. So that's the one we were trying to work out. 77 degrees when you add up and take away from 360. Okay. Now on the right hand side, this one does have a special name. That's actually a trapezium. Okay, and you can tell it's a trapezium because the top and the bottom are parallel. And it looks like we've only got one angle, but that's not true because we've got a 90 in this corner and we've got a 90 in that corner. And so it's pretty much the same as the one we've just done. Add up the angles that we've got and take them away from 360. So we've got a 124, a 90 and a 90. So add those up. We've got 4 there. 18 and 2 is 20, so that's 304 degrees, and then take that away from 360 to work out the missing angle, which is down here. Look, I'll call it X. So I can't do 0 take away 4 without borrowing, so 10 take away 4 is 6, 5 take away nothing is 5, 3 take away 3 is nothing. Our missing angle is 56 degrees. Okay, and that's everything you need to know about quadrilaterals. There are some special ones, but you don't need to know about them just yet. You just need to know that they add up to 360, and look out for the squares that mean 90. Make sure you include them in your workings. Okay, so on your worksheet now, you've got a mixture of triangles and quadrilaterals. So some are 180, some are 360. There's some challenge questions on the bottom as well. Keep an eye out for the isosceles triangles, where 2 of the angles are the same. If you need to, get this video back up and watch me do the isosceles ones again when you get to those if you've forgotten how to do them. Okay.